Good afternoon. I can see you, Najib Abida. How are you doing? Unmute.
Najib is on mute.
Yes, yes, there we go. Yeah. Can I go ahead?
Rosemary, good morning.
Morning, morning. How are you?
Behaving well.
Yes.
لا يزموا دفاع حاطينه كل شيء للقهوه عطاني المدفع سوا انا بعد انت عندك واتساب صح؟ اوكي بعد ولا تبع معنا او كانت قلبك وهم كاتبينها راهو او كتبت تقراها هذه يكون شي فور كذا اما ما نعرفش كان ندخل زوزي
Thank you very much. I think all of you can hear me. Welcome, to all participants, all of you from all over the world. I know you're tuning in, just setting yourself up. I mean, it's a great day. It's a Saturday, depending on where you are, October 24th. But what's so special about October 24th? October 24th, 2020 marks 25 years of internet in Africa, a major milestone and an opportune time to reflect on the development and spread of the internet in the continent of Africa and its socioeconomic impact. According to the statistics last year, September 2019, estimates that Africa has an internet penetration of 39% against world average of 58%, and the rest of the world are 62%. Yet the internet offers so much opportunity and potential to improve the living standards of African population and uplift their socioeconomic status. It is with this background that we mark this very important day, Silver Jubilee of Internet to Africa, and we have pioneers, some of them living, some of them who have passed on, but we salute them for the wonderful work that they've done. We have a group of panelists, my brother here from Tunisia, Najib Abida. I can see Madame Bernadette Lewis, who is the secretary, newly appointed Secretary General of the Commonwealth Telecommunications organization. It is in London. I believe she's still in Trinidad and Tobago. I don't know if you've succeeded in traveling, but I know the airspace is opening. But welcome, Madame Lewis.
Thank you.
It's great to see you again. Here we are. And moving along, we have other colleagues, our own brother, Dr. Shem Ochodho, who is the global chair of the Kenya Diaspora Association or Alliance, but he also holds many hats. I do remember when I first interfaced, or we all heard of him, when he was leading the African Regional Computing Center. I think that is the first time all of us talked of internet or, just getting to know what this big monster was all about. I call it monster because politicians and everybody else and all of us were afraid of something we didn't know. We were not ready to take that challenge. But some of these pioneers are going to walk us through briefly as we celebrate them on some of the achievements that have come through their hands and collective effort. We are talking at a time when we have the global pandemic. All of us are now operating from our homes. It is a pity that at this particular time, if we did not have the internet, what could have happened? How would we have communicated? Without much ado, I want to pass on the baton to one of our first speakers, and also introducing myself. My name is Rosemary Musumba. I work with the United Nations. I'm currently in New York. And the co-moderator, my colleague, Patrick Inguza, is also here with me. Karibuni, bienvenue to all of you. Patrick, welcome. Over to you. Unmute.
Thank you very much indeed, Rosemary, for that amazing introduction. You will pardon me because this was a very, very abrupt call. And as you can see, I'm in the car. I was on the road, but when I heard about discussing matters to do with internet in Africa, I heeded the call and decided to be part and parcel of this amazing discussion. And so I wonder, Rosemary, if you can please help me understand who will it be suitable to set the ball rolling when it comes to these discussions, and then I'll pick it up from there. Who do we give the first opportunity?
Thank you, Patrick, for heeding the call. Likewise, we are like soldiers. This is something that I look back to and cherish because we have all benefited in one way or the other. But without much ado, really, we have great speakers. We have people who have seen it all. Stones were thrown at them because we did not understand what it was all about. But here we are. We really, the essence of the Silver Jubilee is to celebrate some of our own brothers and sisters who have been there in the dungeon, supporting, making this lone cry, talking to the woods, to the birds, that we need internet. Not many of us really understood what it was all about, but here we are. I would like to, we have the chief guest is Madame Esther Koimett, a very good friend, somebody that we all admire on how, on some of the great achievements that she has. She is the chief guest, and she is the PS in the Ministry of ICT, or Broadcasting and Telecommunication, Kenya, in the Republic of Kenya. And some of the people, the panelists that will be speaking today, we have Dr. Miss Leopoldina Masenge. I'm sorry if I massacre the name. This is Mozambican. She is the spouse to Professor Engineer Venancio Masenge, late. He was the former Minister for Science and Technology. We celebrate him. And like I said, we have our chief guest, one of our own brothers and sisters, brother, Dr. Shem Ochodho, the global chair of the Kenya Diaspora Alliance. Karibu, Dr. Ochodho, and you can set the ball rolling.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. Sorry for joining this late. We greatly look forward to today. Saturday happens to be my Sabbath, so I apologize for the short late start, but we're excited that we're celebrating this day. Thank you for welcoming. And welcome everybody.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. Dr. Najib Abida, or I like calling most people doctor, but Mr. Najib Abida, who is from Tunisia, our brother from Tunisia, also one of the founders or who brought internet to Tunisia or Africa as a whole, North Africa. Welcome, Najib. You can say hello. Unmute. Bienvenue. Unmute, please.
It can be unmuted at the center.
Najib Abida, vous avez la parole, hein?
Hello.
Yeah, oui, vas-y.
Yeah. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Yes. Welcome. Nice to see you, and nice to reconnect with you again. Our chief guest, I think who should be joining us anytime now, Madam Esther Koimett, PS, Ministry of ICT, or Broadcasting and Telecommunication. Is she here?
Sorry, is just connecting technically in a little while. You can just start with the other colleagues as we sort that out.
Okay, no problem, no problem, no problem.
Can
Yes.
can I add something?
Go ahead.
I have next to me another founder of Tunisia. You know, when we are connecting a country to the whole internet network, we need not different people. So Mr. Murad Zweri was one guy, come on Murad, who ran the first research network in Tunisia called RNRT. This is Murad.
Hi, brother Murad. Quest. Assalamu alaikum.
Salam alaikum.
Quest. Alhamdulillah.
So,
welcome.
We are, as you know, Dr. Shem, I am running Z Consulting Company, which is, we move it to smart specialization, technology transfer, innovation management. And you asked me if I can bring other people from the digital economy in Tunisia.
Right.
And I prepared also my colleague, Nadia. She is next in my left.
Hi. Hi, Nadia. How are you?
How are you? Good morning.
Ça va bien?
To see you, Mr. Shem, because Mr. Najib talked to me about you a lot. So
thank you very much. Pleased to meet. Be blessed.
Welcome.
Thank you. A luta continua.
Yeah. So
we
are all of us. We are following the seminar, the conference, and very interested to this type of programs. And it will be a pleasure to collaborate in this field of innovation and ICT. So thank you.
Thank you. Keep up the good work. I still remember World Summit on Information Society in Tunis, the year 2005. So pleasure. Welcome.
Yes. Yes.
Over to you, Madam Moderator.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. I think let's go into the program. That was just a little teaser starting off. We have quite a number of people who've joined us from all over the world. I can see that they're scrolling through. And like I said earlier on, really, it's a big honor to have Madame Bernadette Lewis, who is the new Secretary General of the Commonwealth Telecommunication Organization. Karibu, that is welcome. Please go ahead and give us a global perspective.
Right, thank you, Madam Moderator. Distinguished guests, panelists, and participants, good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all of you. First of all, I'd like to congratulate the Kenyan Diaspora Alliance for this celebration of the Silver Jubilee of the Internet in Africa, and to thank them for inviting me to participate in this webinar. I truly count it a privilege to be here as part of the African diaspora here in Trinidad and Tobago, because for many of the descendants of enslaved Africans, visiting Africa is a dream because the cost of travel is prohibitive. But amazingly, today, the internet has made it possible for us to meet, for me to meet with citizens from all over the African continent and beyond, to exchange views, to share our experiences, and to enrich each other's lives. Today, I've been asked to share some thoughts on global perspectives and partnerships to expand affordable quality connectivity. And there are many technologies that promise to provide affordable quality connectivity. Wireless technologies are indeed the future, and we are seeing the establishment of cloud technologies and systems that even allow you to pay as you use. We are seeing the emergence of the low Earth orbiting, the LEOs, and the medium Earth orbiting satellite systems, the MEOs. We also have high altitude platform systems and stations that could provide connectivity services that are akin to traditional terrestrial communications. And these systems have the potential to cover large land masses without reference to geopolitical borders. So I want to speak not so much about the technology, because technical solutions will be found, but I want to address the need for partnerships and collaboration amongst the countries of Africa and indeed across the world. There is a case for continuous countries, for countries that share borders and constitute regions or sub-regions to work together, to engage the service providers and to come up with solutions for their region, rather than each country engaging service providers on its own. There are tremendous economies of scale that could be achieved. There are great benefits to be derived from partnerships and greater degrees of collaboration between the countries of Africa, because that's what we're celebrating, the internet in Africa today, and also across the world. And the Commonwealth Telecommunications Union, as you know, this is I think our 120th year of existence. The CTO is committed to supporting countries, not just in Africa, across the Commonwealth and beyond, to forge those partnerships, those beneficial partnerships, to create those mechanisms that would enable greater degrees of collaboration between countries. And at the end of the day, the CTO is about ensuring that Commonwealth citizens and beyond have affordable access to the technologies and are able to use them effectively to improve the quality of their lives. And in this celebration of 25 years of the internet in Africa, I think I just want to take a little bit of my time to look at the lessons we have learned from the first 25 years and apply them for the future. You know, as more and more of our citizens are connected to the internet, we must ensure that they are able to make beneficial and productive use of the internet and its resources. Provisions must be made to protect our citizens' person, their intellectual, digital, physical possessions, and their privacy. And these are things that are concerning us now, the whole issue of cybersecurity. And I also believe that due care and systems must be put in place to ensure that in this era of hyperconnectivity, we do not become disconnected and isolated from our fellow men. we have to be mindful that in this age of communication, we lose our ability to communicate with our children, with our friends and colleagues and neighbors. That in this new global world order, we lose our cultural identity, our individuality, and our humanity. Or even worse, that in this technological age, we lose our souls. So I have just taken some thoughts of the lessons of the first 25 years, and we need to guard against the negative aspects of the internet going forward. And I also want to say that we absolutely have to collaborate. We have to deepen collaborative relationships if we are going to benefit from the technologies that are now, that are coming to the fore at this time. And I hope these brief remarks, I think I've kept within my 8 minutes. I hope these brief remarks help, or provoke thought in what we need to do going forward. And with that, I thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Over to you, Patrick. Patrick.
Yes, thank you very much, Rosemary. And those were quite insightful remarks from Madam Bernadette Lewis, who's the Secretary General of the CTO. I would like us to react to some of the issues that she has raised there. She has set a very amazing background when it comes to penetration of internet here in Africa. But I will set the ball rolling by asking Madam Bernadette, you've spoken about collaborations, and I just want you to help us understand how easy or difficult has it been for African nations to collaborate even towards this effort of ensuring that internet penetration is actually something that's attainable, something that has been attained, and what are some of those hurdles that have actually made these collaborations quite a hard road to travel, Madam Lewis?
Right. The challenge, and I can't speak definitively with respect to the African experience, but I'm sure I could draw lessons from my experience within the region, right? And what typically happens is that countries are concerned with their national issues, right? Within the region, within Africa, there are a number of regional organizations that are endeavoring to create those mechanisms for regional collaboration. But at the end of the day, what happens is the powers that be within countries are concerned with the national issues. And there is a need to connect the decisions that are made regionally to the national agenda. Because you may make a decision at the regional level, yes, and we say we are going to do this for our region, but the actual implementation of that regional issue has to be at the national level. There are things that need to be done at the national level that would give life, that would result in the implementation of those regional decisions. So consequently, there needs to be a greater focus on the national level of the bigger regional picture. And I could speak, and that is a challenge. That is a challenge. When you consider a national government, it has a responsibility to its constituents, its citizens, and there would be things that the citizen may not necessarily understand what the bigger picture is. So there is a need for a lot of public awareness and education, not just at the regional level, but at the national level. And it calls for champions at the national level who could inspire and captivate the citizenry, so that when the government says we are going ICT, we are going to be digitizing, we are going to be transforming, you have a citizenry that understands the potential. And this takes effort. This takes effort. Public awareness, raising the understanding, drawing your citizens along. It absolutely needs, it takes effort. But the other thing I just wanted to mention briefly is you need a champion at the highest level of government who will ensure that those decisions that are taken at the regional level are actually translated and accommodated within the national planning framework, right? And those are that. So that is the challenge. There's typically a disconnect between what happens at the regional level and the implementation at the national level. But public awareness, raising, demonstrating the power, the transformative power of the technology is a good place to start. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you, Mrs. Lewis. There's a question that has come from Robert Maniki that says, and you may have touched on this, cost of internet is still prohibitive in Africa, despite investments and fiber optic cables post the depreciation of these investments. When do we anticipate costs coming down? And with that, I want to tie to that aspect of, you talked of national machinery or national governments really pulling up their socks on this. The rural areas, not all of them are powered by electricity. You know, where do we go from here?
Well, two things. Those are very fundamental, challenging issues for many developing countries, right? And you know, we have lots of sun, yes. So we need to explore those renewable energy, the sources of electrification, solar power. Yes, it's a cost, and I'm not denying that technology is costly, but we have to be prepared to make the sacrifice to make these things happen, first of all. And that is why I am so forceful in my belief in collaboration. If a few organizations, rather than trying to do it on our own, we can benefit from volume discounts, volume ordering, sharing systems, right? We don't all have to have the system, whatever it is. We can share. And these are things that could help in bringing down the cost of connectivity and internet. And we also need to involve the service providers in partnerships. I believe that service providers have to exercise a greater degree
less time consuming, and regional cooperation to resolve issues on standardization of ICT sector, including operator standards, market growth, and quality of service. Over to you, Engineer Obama.
I think I lost track of the questions.
Yes, it was a long one. It was a long one.
Yeah, let me start by maybe talking about regional cooperation.
Yes.
One of the things that we are doing is we are discussing within the East Africa community. And within the community, we have what we call corridors, the Northern Corridor countries consisting of Kenya, Uganda, Rwanda, and South Sudan. We are having a discussion on starting, not just having a digital market in our own countries, but have like a sub-regional digital market within the sub-region. Then that will translate into now the continental-wide effort. We, through the East Africa Legislative Assembly and through the East Africa community, we do have common frameworks that we adopt, especially in policy and regulatory frameworks. Specifically to ICT, there's an organization called the East Africa Communication Organization, which you may be aware of, which is an organization of regulators and private and companies that operate in this space. And they meet regularly to discuss and see how they can be able to harmonize the regulatory instruments across the region. So that's that. So within the region, that's what we are doing. Coming back specifically to Kenya and what we are doing in terms of data privacy, last week the president appointed the Data Protection Commissioner, and the commissioner was appointed after the Data Protection Act was passed last year. And the act was actually developed in a multi-stakeholder environment. I hope that the person who asked the question was able to participate. It was the task force was chaired by the acting DG of CM, Masi Wanjau, and we had the representation from the private sector, from civil society, and also from government. And we came out with a framework that was actually deliberated on both in the Senate, the National Assembly, so currently we have a Data Protection Act, which actually measures up to the international best practice in terms of protecting personal information and privacy. In terms of cybersecurity, KSAT is an open platform. Again, it's also a PPP. We have private companies there, we've got government, and we have got these agencies as member of the Kenya Cyber Incident Reporting Team. And therefore, we are trying our best. It's not, there's still room for more. And I think as we go on, as the economy becomes more digitized, we probably have to tighten up some of those laws, but at least we have been able to put in place legislation that looks at cybersecurity, looks at privacy, protects collecting and processing of data in accordance with international best practice. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Engineer Obama. Moving along, I mean, there are many questions and comments that are just coming in, mostly congratulating you, Dr. Chuodo, and all our heroes. Let's remember late Uncle Dr. Cage. This is from MJ Okumo to all the panelists. We salute all our unsung heroes from Africa, you know, heroes and heroines. As we continue with the story, sharing stories from across the continent, like Dr. Ashemo Chodo mentioned, we have a number of people who are here or who are joining. Ms. Biodun Odusote, there's a name here, Bill Sangwa, Najib Abida from Tunisia, Dr. Americo, and of course, Charles Musisi, sorry, from Uganda. Let me do ladies first, from Mozambique, Dr. Leopoldina Masenge, who is a medical doctor and an internet enthusiast, but at the same time, she's also the spouse to the late Professor Engineer Venancio Masinge, who was the former Minister for Science and Technology in Mozambique. Dr. Masinge, if you are with us, please, you have the floor.
Yes, I am. I am, and thank you for inviting me. Thank you very much for this invitation. And I'm so pleased to join the panelists, and I'm so pleased to join this conference to speak about some of the Masinge's work in Mozambique. It's not easy to speak about great man who he was. His work is still continuing here in Mozambique. We do have Dr. Americo Mushanga and Dr. Engineer Bila, that I think they will join us today to speak about the evolution of internet here in Mozambique. What I can say about Dr. Masinge, Engineer Masinge, is that he was the pioneer of internet here in Mozambique, and he worked hardly to put in place many initiatives to expand internet to the rural areas. One of the things that he made, and he worked hard on it, was to put the which we call Village do Millennium, to put internet on rural areas to young children to have access to the internet. And also, he worked on a science park here in Mozambique, technology science park. Unfortunately, in 2017, he passed away, but his work is still continuing with many developments. I can say Dr. Americo Mushanga is one of his students, his pupils, and now we launched the digital TV last weeks ago, and I think he will, in time, he will speak about what is happening really in Mozambique. Thank you, over.
Thank you.
Obrigada.
Thank you very much.
No, really nice to see you. And also we heard of Professor Masinge for many years, and we followed the struggle in Mozambique and the development. I had the opportunity when I worked with the UN radio to interview your president, who speaks Swahili perfectly. Yes.
Yes.
So it's a great opportunity. I know the airwaves have not opened in terms of traveling to Mozambique, because I have my own sister in Maputo right this minute. Who would like to? Thank you so much. And I really want to connect it to the next person that you talked about, Dr. Americo Mushanga. If Dr. Americo is with us, please, I would like Dr. Mushanga to connect and have the floor and just tell us the story. To me, Mozambique is a beautiful, I look at it like Mombasa, the beach, and it's a beautiful, the people are also very nice and kind, but you have a story. You have gone through the struggles, but here we are now, talking at a time of COVID and talking about internet and saluting our hero and heroines. Dr. Mushanga.
Madam Moderator, I think Dr. Mushanga is still having trouble connecting, but Charles Musisi, Uganda, is in, if you permit. I was hoping Dr. Leopoldina was going to speak in Portuguese so that other people who have trouble with English would understand, but that's fine. Well done. Thanks. Charles Musisi is in.
Yeah, Charles Musisi, you have the floor, please.
Thank you, Madam Moderator, and thank you all my good friends. It's always a pleasure to be joining my good friends and some of the names you've heard. Obviously, we're all excited about today's celebration. And Shem, thank you again for looking us up, as you say, you really looked us up, and all the effort you've put into putting this together. We've had a series of other meetings where we've brainstormed about the history and the good old days and the tough old days and the good things that took place in between there. When we were crawling under the desks and trying to make this mystery that it was at the time the internet work and function. You'd know that Uganda's story kind of closely dovetails Kenya's story, meaning that things tend to happen in sequence, you sort of say. So there's 25 years ago, 25 years ago, when the very first packets in form of rudimentary email networks were sprouting out in the region, we were there, and I can say we were there in the trenches. Again, Shem, you're my locus really to these things in many ways. In relating to the celebration we're now witnessing. I very vividly remember the announcement and your voice, which has stayed first. When you announced the first packet that kind of came out of, I believe that time, University of Nairobi, on that machine called Agony. And when that marks the real advent of the real internet, the modern day internet as we know it. Looking back to the many developments, quite obviously, yes, it would have come. But again, I've got to pay tribute to some of our other colleagues. We've all encountered. I would have loved to see, but I think former PS or the Sote. I remember very well back in the days, those 25 years ago or thereabout, going over to her then place of where she worked. I think it was called Yabatek in Lagos.
Yes.
Yes, and trying to connect, her computer to the modem and make those the dial-up and dropping off the first emails over. There were obviously a lot of enjoyable encounters. Americo was always there. Dr. Mansing was always there. Very fond memories, very quiet man, very thoughtful man. And oftentimes we would meet in foreign capitals, trying to create what have become the bodies that coordinate some of the key parameters that hold together the internet. Of course, apart from domain names, but also what I call, internet, the internet numbering system, with bodies such as Afrinic. There've been other networking groups that played a supportive role, like AFNOG, the African Network Operators Group, which is a body that's our good friend Nick Queno and I created, and very much Nick Queno has been in the driving seat for that. But the very fact that we've seen them grow and survive these many years, and even ICANN found us there. So you can see our work precedes ICANN, which is the global coordinating body. So for me, joining this team of pioneers or early trendsetters is very joyful for me. I don't think I have any much more to say apart from congratulating my good friend Shem. I would love to come and thank you in person as soon as the borders open, and we'll then have a real big celebration. Asante.
Thank you very much. Yes, we have other speakers. Thank you very much, Charles Musisi, for walking us through that story, your participation, and you talked of the dial-up. That's a joke in itself. I do remember that. I mean, there are people who still use that, but we all remember that sound. The you wait and wait and wait, and you keep, you know, your head is almost spinning, you know, as you're looking at this whole thing. But it's interesting, you know, we've improved. I mean, really, I compare this to even the talk of IBM, not that I'm holding a brief for them, but they had these big machines, big computers that really looked funny. And when you look at Apple, you know, now, I mean, it's $1 trillion industry or company, but I mean, you remember that first tube of the computer that had, really, very obsolete, very archaic. I think that should be in the museum, but now people they are working with something in their hand, literally, doing work virtually from any part of the world. Or you could be in the train, you could be anywhere in your car, and you're still downloading and making a presentation like Patrick is doing, you know, a while ago when he was in his car. Who else do we have in terms of the pioneers? I think let's go to Tunisia, to our brother.
Right.
Go ahead, Dr. Chodo.
No, just Najib, Tunisia.
Yes, I was moving to North Africa to introduce my brother Najib. Yes. Welcome. Vous avez la parole, please, vas-y.
Yeah, okay, you can introduce me if you want, or I can introduce myself.
Please, go ahead. Tell us all about your story.
Thank you very much. I am really enjoying this conference. Thank you for the invitation. I'm very happy to hear all of you. And I have a very nice thought and regret of Professor Mushanga. Saying again hello to my friends in Mozambique, I would like to say 2 words about Professor Mushanga before telling a little bit my story with internet. So Professor Mushanga, we were together within a Randy Bush workshop in San Jose in 1991. And he was one of the key person in Africa to push things for value-added services in digital economy already in 93, 94. And I had a very strong relationship with this great man. I really regret him. I remember when he was in Tunisia first time in his life in 2005, because he had an official invitation from the government to be a key person and the speaker on the WISIS, World Information Summit in Tunisia in 2005. And I remember I had a phone call from him saying, hello, Najib, the plane is landing now, just landing, and I want to meet you before the official meeting. At that time, I was running a science park in El Ghazala, Tunis. And he was very, very interested to visit this techno park. And we had a half a day together. So again, big thought to Professor Mushanga and a big hello to my friends, to all of you, and to my friends in Mozambique. Now, my story with internet started when I came back from Europe in 1855 and 1885. And 1886, I joined the research center. 1985, yeah, sorry, 1985. And 1986, I joined the research center called IRSIT, Research Institute for Telecom and Informatics. And our boss was the Bourguiba Junior. Bourguiba is the president of Tunisia, and his son had the idea to create a research center and to fix the good. I think his idea how to make things happen in Tunisia in terms of information technology. So he was a visionary guy. He passed away also, unfortunately, Bourguiba Jr. And we had the idea to connect this research center to NSFNet, National Science Foundation in America. So because at that time, if you have a research center in Africa, the first thing you have to do is to connect it to USA because there is a lot of research. And we find out BitNet. BitNet is the research center of NSFNet because it's time network, the American jargon. And at that time, we didn't have TCP/IP. We cannot connect different operating systems together. Macintosh cannot talk to PC, and PC cannot talk to VM system in Unix, in IBM machines. And we start to have BitNet connection in '87 with Montpellier. Montpellier is in France, which is connected to USA. And through this network, we understood that internet is coming. And that's why Tunisia had the first node in Africa in '89-19. And I was I have a big chance to be somehow the manager of the first node of this internet connection in Africa in '89-19. And we had the chance to create the research center around this node step by step. And of course, after that, we had different ISP, so internet providers. And after that, I moved to work on telelearning, distance learning. At that time, broadband is not very well, but we managed to have distance learning. And then I moved in '96 to the first science park. Again, it was the second science park in Africa after South Africa, the innovation hub in South Africa. So I am a lucky man because I worked first on the internet where there is no internet in the continent. And then I worked on e-learning and teleactivities, and then a science park. And I remember I had a lot of meeting in our science park in Tunis with the key people like Professor Massinga and others. And now I am working on S3, Smart Specialization Strategy. This is, I think, something that we have to share with all of us, because this is the real regional development. If you have a small town somewhere in Africa, if we push the smart specialization strategy, we can create value-added services. We have to see what is the strength of this region, and we go ahead to see what kind of opportunity and if there is a capacity to develop this steel industry or olive agri-food industry or healthcare. So now I am working on healthcare. We create a very interesting big cluster with different clinics, startups, people who are creating you know, after this strategy was set up 10 years ago, but when the COVID comes, everybody was saying to us, you saw very well that you invest in this healthcare issue. So today, we have to take care, you know. Today there is some some instrument or test that USA cannot don't want to deliver to anybody. So we have to think about creating sometimes small thing by ourselves. And we believe that if we can collaborate, every country have some strength, we can do a lot with, and without internet, we cannot do anything, of course. So I don't know if I thought I was saying everything, but this is more or less what we are doing here. And thank you very much for all of you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Merci beaucoup.
Thank you very much. Yes, yeah, thank you. Thank you, really.
Thank you.
That
Thank
story
you.
from Tunisia and how you have connected with all the other pioneers, your story with Professor Masinge and the other pioneers. You know, we salute you. We salute the work that you've done before to continue doing, because one of the things that I think Madam Masinge talked about is professors' interest in nurturing young people,
Yes.
you know, leaving the legacy. You know, they are the people now who are running the show. But, and, you know, and of course we have Dr. Mushanga, Americo Mushanga. So if the others are having problem in joining, but let's continue with the Kenyan story this particular time. I would like to introduce our own two own colleagues who also have worked with the ARCC. This is Dr. Martin Koyabe, who is currently based in London, and Sam Mabura, who I believe is either in Uganda or in Nairobi. Not sure where he is now, but he's in the diaspora somewhere. Dr. Koyabe, you have the floor.
First of all, thank you so much. Let me first of all start by recognizing our Secretary General of the CTO. I'm very lucky to have my boss on this particular call. I also want to recognize the representative of the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry, Daniel Obam, whom I've worked with for some time. The pioneers who are on the call, and eminent invited guests, and of course, my lecturer, my mentor, Shem, and of course, colleagues who are on this particular call. I know there is a lot that has already been discussed, and so I just want to take a few minutes to just create and give a path of the history that we had, and then I'll conclude with some of the things that I've seen and how we can be able to wrap this up. As they always say, you know, as a good teacher is seen by the students. So I don't know whether Shem was a good teacher, but if that is the case, then so be it. So the point that I learned, especially when we are starting this journey, there were a number of things that we learned during the initial stages. And there are three things that I want to share, which were very fundamental, especially during those early days, because you're talking of, there was nowhere you could refer to any manual, there was nowhere you could just only learn from each other. And one thing that was very clear was the foundations of what a good engineer you can be and how you can learn the fundamentals of what is the internet and how you can be able to translate it. So remember, not very many people are aware of what the internet was. So here we were in 1993 selling something that no one had an idea how it looks like, no one had an idea what it can do, but we were very, very ambitious in terms of what the potentials were. We knew that there was something on the internet that would change and revolutionize so many things. So therefore, the journey of understanding, the journey of being able to absorb and being able to learn from each other was very fundamental on the early stages. I also remember very clearly at one point we were working with a student who came to join us, and he's now a professor, Yero Balde. He's from the Gambia, but he was based in Leicester University. He came to work on telematics, informatics, how you could use the potential of the internet to do things like telemedicine and so forth, which today is a reality. And those days, it was really something that no one had heard of.
And I remember we wrote a paper, Shem, you remember very clearly, this paper, we presented it in Johannesburg. In fact, it was in Cape Town. And when we presented it there, I remember at the time of presentation, I was approached by a professor, Julian Hilton, who was based in the UK. And he came and said, what's your name? And I said, I'm so-and-so, this is what, and he said, what have you been talking about? And little did I know that this would lead to other issues leading to where I am today. So therefore, the journey has been long, and I have got a lot of gratitude to so many people. And of course, JD, who was on the call earlier, we used to call her, she was the mother of all battles. She used to treat us so well. And again, she took care of us quite well those days. The other point that I wanted to share also is the issue around the collaboration. And I think the Secretary General mentioned, and the pioneer from Tunisia has mentioned, and the idea of collaboration can be, in fact, it starts from the household, how you collaborate and how you work, and the idea of being able to learn from each other. So that was very important, and being able to learn and work with different people from different parts of the world with very different demands. And this actually modeled some of us to what we are today in terms of understanding how we work with a number of people. And then there was also thirdly, the issue around the objectivity, being able to try and complete something. I remember those days, and I remember that name that has been mentioned, a machine called Agony. This was a famous name that we had. It was a BSD machine that we used to use. And remember those days, we were not able to, if let's say you send an email to Randy Bush, he would just send you one line. And he would tell you, go and research, go and look for this, go and learn this. And it was really, really a learning process. And I remember Shem would tell us, please just keep hacking on it. So I also want to recognize one more person who is not on this call, Paul Orlando, whom we all know. He was absolutely a pivotal individual and really gave what he could. And we tried as much as we can. And thanks to the other colleagues who are in the team to have brought this particular part into where it is. So let me just share what I believe are some of the challenges that we see today going forward. And I just want to not to repeat what has been said, but just to put some perspective to it. So number one, we are seeing there's a lot of issues around the legislation, regulation in many countries, and also the challenges of the policies. And Engineer Obam gave a very, very elaborate way of how many countries in Africa are trying to look at the digital blueprint in order to have a reasonable digital dividends. So the key issue here is there has to be an agile way, smart policies, that's what we call smart regulation. A good example is where regulators should be able to realize how they work in an ecosystem. You cannot just be a regulator of telecom and stick to it. You have to recognize the other sectors and be able to recognize how you merge. So those key areas, that one area of regulation, policy, and legislation is a key component to bring good instruments in order to energize the ecosystem. Secondly, there's the issue around the infrastructure, connectivity, and devices. These are things that we've talked about, but in infrastructure, resilience is important. We've talked about it. In order to enable the digital dividend to be realized, there is a need to make it cheaper so that people can be able to afford connectivity to the internet. There's a need to make it affordable and reachable so that people can be able to address. In fact, we no longer talk of the last mile. It's probably the last kilometer or the last meter today. So therefore, people have tried as much as possible to get in. We need to really look at those areas. Devices, how do we make them cheaper? And of course, how do we make them more secure for people to use when they do access what we are providing, especially on the internet today. And then thirdly, there's the issue around capacity building, awareness, and outreach. And when we talk about capacity, we've talked about training, but what I would urge here is the issue around training trainers. Let us have a knowledge of training somebody who can train someone else, so that we don't have the same people coming to train the same individuals all the time. And I think the notion of training trainers would really help in terms of expanding how we work. If let's say Shem wasn't generous enough to show us something that we really wanted to learn, we wouldn't have known what we know. So I think the issue of training trainers and letting those people flourish in their own ways to train other people should be the mantra that we should adopt going forward, especially if we are to allow what we know now today to advance our way of life. And of course, awareness is important. and outreach is important. But let me just point out that when you talk about awareness, let's focus on the people who make decisions for us, especially when you talk of legislators, when you talk of committees in countries. Let's talk of those people. Let's talk to them. Let's make sure that they are the ones who decide your life and my life, and we put them in parliament to do that. So therefore, I think that awareness should be more focused in those areas. There's also this other part, which is the fourth issue around the content. And we've talked about innovation, we've talked about research and development, and emerging technology. This concentrates slightly on the fourth industrial revolution as we see it today, and as we know it, and I know my boss, the SG, has been very, very keen to focus on this area. And we see that there are things that we need to prepare for. Think about it this way. If we change to what we call the AI or IoT of today, training will never be normal. We'll have to train people in different ways. We'll have to look at the labor capacity in different ways. Universities have to change their curriculum. People have to change their ways. So therefore, we need to be able to look at our curriculum from the fundamentals, whether it's the primary, secondary, tertiary, and even university, and look at them in a different light going forward in order to be able to flourish what we have today and to advance the emerging technologies of today going forward. And then, of course, the sixth point is the issue around cybersecurity, cybercrime, cyber standard. And one more item that I wanted to add there is the issue of cyber norms. This is how countries use technology to either infiltrate or have an offensive nature to other countries. We need to have a way around how do we control nations of today being able to expand in those particular areas. And then, of course, the seventh issue was the issue around the investment. We talk about all these good things, but if there's no investment, if there's no sustainable formula, if there's no way of how we can sustain the connectivity. Shem talked about, having earned 2,000 Kenya shillings. I remember those days we used to pay 10,000 Kenya shillings just for a lease line on a monthly basis. It was a lot of money. So
actually, $16,000.
Exactly, it was a lot of money. And thanks to the Overseas Development Agency, who really came in and helped us to maintain those lease lines, to maintain that capacity. So therefore, cost, investment, and the need to be able to invest in those areas is important. I think Obama gave a very good overview of how the digital print hinges on the Africa trade agreements, and that will open up what we call the border-to-border, country-to-country connectivity and all that. So therefore, finance, investment, sustainability, I think it's an issue that we need to look at. And then, of course, number 9, which is not necessarily last or not least, is the issue around collaboration and partnership and coordination. And our Secretary General put it very clearly that collaboration needs to be part of the DNA. Otherwise, it will be difficult to be able to have the partners, the pioneers that we see today from Tunisia, from Uganda, from Mozambique and other places, because there's a collaborative nature. And collaboration brings people together, you solve issues together, and you're able to have the problem. And then, of course, learn from each other. And there's one point that I also wanted to mention is the issue of how do we make sure that we monitor and evaluate where we are. In fact, we have talked about 25 years today. I think sometimes back, the CTO recognized this particular initiative and also gave it the importance that it requires. So therefore, an issue around how you assess ourselves, how do we monitor ourselves, how do we make sure that those milestones are met is very, very important. But last but not least, and this is the most key thing that I think we need to really recognize, is the political will. If there is no political will in any country, none of this will be possible. If we don't have any political will, if the system, what we call the system, whatever that means, does not recognize the importance of what we're talking about, it will be absolutely difficult. We know what that means. There are good examples we can give around Africa. There are good examples we can give around Europe and other parts of the world, in the Americas, in the Caribbean, in the Pacific, where political will has revolutionized the way people, citizens, and others get the dividends from our digital infrastructure and the internet per se. And with those few remarks, I really want to return my gratitude to all the people on the panel, and for those of us who might not have been having a chance to be here, and to say thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Martin Koyabe. Let me say what your title is. I mean, at CTO, yes, your boss is here, but you are the head,
Of
the head of technical support and consultancy at the CTO. Thank you so much for sharing your story. That was the Kenyan story, and you know how you've connected with the brothers also in other parts of the world, including in the US and other parts. Really, so much to learn, so much to hold on to. Really, thank you. And as the discussion continues, there are, you know, questions will come, and you know, I'll forward them to, you know, we'll ask all of you. But allow me to introduce our sister, who has just concluded as PS in the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Madam Ibidun Odusote. I hope I'm pronouncing it well. Past PS of Agriculture and Energy and Environment in Nigeria. Welcome, Madam Odusote. Please, you have the floor.
Thank you. Thank you so much that I can come in at last. I've been trying to get on. Thank you very much. This is Ibukun Odushote. Okay, start my video. Okay, let me start my video. I'm actually moving, so I hope you'll be able to catch a glimpse of me in the car as I'm going along with my discussion. I don't know what I should be saying, but one thing that I would love to say is that it's so nice to be able to connect with people that were with us at the beginning of internet in Africa. Internet in Nigeria down. Thank God for the internet is what everybody had said, because without the internet, maybe people would have even died. They wouldn't have had any means of communication. They wouldn't have had means of eating, means of livelihood. All this happened by reason of the internet and all the efforts that were there at the beginning 25 years ago. So I want to congratulate everyone that is here. I want to congratulate my brother in particular, Dr. Shem Uchodo. All of them were together with me, Charles Musisi, Mike Laurie, all of them were with us in Nigeria when we were starting and we were struggling with so many things here. But today it's history, and it's good history because we can rejoice that it's working. So thank you very much for having me. I'm glad to be here, and I will still continue to listen until we get to the end of the conference. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome, Madam PS. Good to see you again.
Nice to see you, Shem.
Yes, the line wasn't as very clear, and going over your name, Ibidun Odushote, I do remember my former boss, the late Babatunde Oshotmihem, so I know how to pronounce some of those names. I had to get used to them. He was minister, I believe, of health. Yes, yeah. But when he passed on, he was executive director of UNHCR. Yes. Madam Odushote, you've given us just a snippet of your role, but I know there's a lot more that you've done, and I wanted to focus a question on the women. We in Kenya and everywhere else, you know, our rural women, our market women, they always have some little phone, they are always transacting, and you know, what thoughts, what vision, where do we go from here? You know, even you are one of the pioneers, but your connection is not as good. It's work in progress. So, you know, our women who have to do everything, I actually call that little phone their office. because this is what they do, everything that they do there. Money coming in, money leaving, you know, ordering things and what have you. And then, of course, when I worked with the Ministry of Culture and Social Services, the Women's Bureau, we also trained, you know, women on income generation, on bookkeeping. We called it bookkeeping at the time. But it was really just making sure that their goods are accounted for and they don't everything that they don't consume everything that they eat. But where do we go from here with our rural women? And
in addition, moderator, how did Madam PS move from being head of computer science department as Brother Charles Musisi was saying, yes, when we were at Yaba College of Technology in Lagos, it would take us 15 minutes just to get a dial tone. Okay, and she was heading that center. And I remember how to become a PS. How did this happen? She can share that as well. Over to you, moderator.
Okay.
Over to you, Madam Modisote.
Yeah.
All right. If I would want to start responding first to the lady, because it's always ladies first.
Yes,
and so I will respond to her first before I come to you. The women, we still have a major challenge with our rural women. Internet connectivity is not the best in Nigeria, as you would observe. It's because I'm in motion, though. I'm in motion because of that. There are changes because of exchanges that I'm passing through. But even when I'm stable in my office, whether in my office at home or in my office where I work, I still have issues with connectivity. So it means that in Africa, we still have a lot to do with helping ourselves with our bandwidth, with our gateways, with the different kinds of connectivity that we have. That's number one. Number two is that our rural women, a lot of them are not yet educated. But I can tell you, everybody is getting to know how to use the phone, how to use their POS, how to do this, how to do that. So it means that there's some level of knowledge of internet usability that is being made available to them. But I can tell you the percentage that you will be talking about in Nigeria, it cannot be up to 40%. That would women that you would say yes, they would have access, adequate access to the internet and using the internet. If Dr. Chodo will remember, I started an NGO as far back 20 years ago. And what we were concentrating women is that it's only recently that the government of Nigeria is paying attention to pumping money into helping the women to achieve their purpose. The few that we had at the beginning, the concentration had just been on conferences, doing this, doing that, market women, this and that. Nobody was talking about introducing them to the use of the internet, introducing them to e-commerce and things like that. But that is gaining a lot of momentum now because government has seen that you must be on the internet to get a lot of things done. We couldn't move during COVID-19 lockdown, and a lot of the women had to start selling what they were selling online. So they saw the need to learn and to be able to utilize the facilities that are there. So like I would say, one of the things that should come out of a conference of this nature is how can we help ourselves from the various African countries. I don't know how good it is in Kenya or in Uganda or wherever, but how can we collaborate to be able to get the best for our women and concentrate on that? We can get international funds, we can get local funds and get even the women themselves to support themselves, and we'll be able to do what we want to do. We are speaking right now. We are the beginning of a project, 1 million websites for small businesses. and majority of what we are concentrating on will be women. So how can I get support from my colleagues from all over to be able to get connectivity for these people, all kinds of things that are required? So that's my short presentation on the issue of rural women and how we are coping. But as for Ibukun Odushote and how I became permanent secretary, I must tell you that the efforts regarding the internet really shut me up. I was in the university, I was in the College of Technology. We were starters there, we were pioneers there. Because of that, a lot of organizations knew I was existing. After a time, a minister of information at that time called for me, requested for me in Abuja that I should come and help them with internet connectivity in government. Right. At least in the radio house, which is the information house ministry. So I came to Abuja. It was very rough. It was very tough for me because normally the civil service, they're always hostile to anybody coming from out there to come and take their space. But I came.
Oh no, we lost it just when it was at the climax.
To Abuja,
yes.
and I
There,
Yes,
she's back.
at the Ministry of Hello.
Yes,
I'm sorry,
please repeat that.
Interrupting me, but there's nothing I can do. I wish I was on my computer. Yes, I said I was invited by a Minister of Information to come and help with internet in the ministry. At that time, they were talking about millennium bug. And they were giving impression that when it is year 2000, once you change to 000 like this, all the computers will blow up. And if you don't do something, then it means that you are going to lose all the infrastructure. So the minister was like, Mrs. Odushote, I guess you can help us with this. What is the meaning of this thing? I tell you, a lot of money was spent trying to do different things. I came in and I said, no, you don't even have applications that will run. So there's nothing that you should be scared of. That's how I came into Abuja. And then I discovered that Minister of Information, no communication systems, even their computers were not networked. So I decided to start wiring up all the computers, joining them together. And then with UUCP, I'm sure some of my colleagues will remember that. With UUCP, I was able to connect, and then we started to have emails. And that's what I kept doing until that minister left, and he just made sure he handed me over to the next person. It was a very rough time, but eventually what I now did was that I transferred my service from academics to the civil service, because there were some unique things that I had succeeded in doing there. All the young people in Abuja at that time, coppers, we have people we call youth coppers. They are on National Youth Service, 1 year compulsory service as young people from the universities. So a lot of them were rushing to the ministry to come and check their mails, to come and they were ready to pay, even no matter how small. It was very small money, but that money was enough for me to maintain the system. When the minister at that time saw what I was doing, he invited other people, some governors around us, to come and see what I was doing. And that just gave me publicity. I was writing in the papers, I was giving lectures in many places, places that normally I wouldn't even have access to. I got access into all those places. And when it was now time for me to move up as a civil servant, I took exams. Then when the issue of permanent secretary was going to come, what happened was that they said they cannot have anybody as perm sec now that is not very, very computer literate and has very good knowledge of the internet. So they were going to take exams. So everybody was jittery, but I was rejoicing because I knew that this was my time. So, and as God will have it, I was able to pass the exams. I passed also the interviews, and I became a permanent secretary. And because I was quite young when I became a permanent secretary, I became a permanent secretary at 50, and you have up to 60 to retire. So I was permanent secretary for 10 solid years. I only just retired February this year. That is my story.
Thank you. Oshe, well done.
Thank you.
That is wonderful. That is wonderful, Madam PS. It's a story that would serve, encourage young people, for those who, just to be consistent on some of the things you did, and you stood out, and they were stuck. They needed you more than you needed them. And this is how we all should do. I want to direct the next question that I had asked on women to Madam S.G. Bernadette Lewis. I know, being in the Caribbean, our women there are seen as very strong. But are there, plans? I just wanted you to also share your own experiences in terms of what support is being given to the women. Madam Lewis.
Right, thank you very much. Yes, within the Caribbean, you find, for example, almost 80% of the graduates coming out of our tertiary education systems are institutions are women. Yes, but when we look in they excel in all of the faculties within these tertiary educations institutions, except for the engineering and science. And I believe this may have to do with the notion of how women are socialized, right? There was a time before when engineering was looked at as a man's field, and it required brawn and strength, physical strength. But and parents, would not have wanted their daughters to be moving into such fields. But times are changing, and we recognize that although in the field of science and technology and engineering, the women are not as well represented as they are in the other faculties and the other disciplines, their numbers are increasing. And within the Caribbean society, you find that women are taking their places. It's happening in the corridors of power. I remember when I first started in my career in ICT and information and communication technologies, whenever I went to a conference, typically I was the only female, but times are changing, and I'm greatly encouraged, when I go out to see more and more women, and the account just given by the distinguished service of the PS. It was such a joy to hear, of what she was able to accomplish. And I think she stands as an inspiration to other women, not just in Africa, but across the region. So yes, we do have our challenges with respect to women in ICT, but there is a focus by many of the Caribbean institutions, for example, the Caribbean Telecommunications Union, the CARICOM Secretariat. These institutions are actively promoting programs that encourage women in ICT. Within the Caribbean Telecommunications, for example, we have done a number of programs for girls to help, introduce them to coding. But there's just another aspect that I need to point out. women are moving ahead in the Caribbean and the men are falling behind. Yes, and I don't know what the situation is in other regions, but you know, whereas yes, we want to encourage the women in ICT, we also have to pay attention to the young men, to the boys who are dropping out, and not just from ICT, just dropping out. And this is a real concern of mine. And what we have to do is, you know, spark the imagination of the young boys as well, you know, and really make sure that nobody is left behind. Not the women, not the boys. You know, we have to cater for an inclusive society where all of our citizens are able to have affordable access to ICTs and to use them in beneficial, productive ways that would enhance the quality of their lives. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Madam Lewis. Patrick, you ready for the next segment?
nambuge bwana muchomba no tawirembega muno kuri mantu manene magatwikika
kwaria 1 oh yes gano keko rekodi oh yes 1 taguta kwaria 1
Hiji Nation Teto Chetu Ajagetu FM.
our ladies. In Kenya or in Swahili, we call them mama mboga. My big order is an African solution. Call it the equivalent of African stroke Kenyan equivalent of Alibaba or Amazon.com. Obviously, those major platforms, the big players, a major aspect for them is to promote Chinese stroke American products to the world. My big order seeks to promote products of Mama Mboga, those hawkers, the mamas in the rural areas, their products not only to our counties, we also have now a devolved system, but also across the world. My last remark, Madam Moderator, is to call for Africa to think about data sovereignty. Who owns Kenya's, Africa's data, okay? We can only talk of data sovereignty the day we'll have our own systems running our data, range from end to end, beginning with the device. And I'm glad there is a Kenyan, the first African smartphone called Silk, already about 9,000 units sold. Most Kenyans don't even know about it. I do know the second one was in Rwanda. Came out as if it was the first one, but it came after Silk, engineered by diasporas returning from the US, Kenyan telecom engineers. Next, there should be a channel, and I must compliment what Liquid is doing in this regard as an African solution. Next would be the servers that you connect through. I can't wait to see servers. And talking for Kenya, I'm glad Kenyatta University or JKUAT are making some form of servers. Next, of course, are the operating systems and the applications that run on them. My point, Madam Moderator, is that until we get to the day where end-to-end is owned by ourselves, whether it's the servers in the clouds, they call it the server farms. And I'm glad Brother Koyabe and Charles Musisi reminding me of the good two servers, the first ones we had at ARCC on that night, fateful night of 24th, 1995, when we got internet in. One was called Agony, but another one was called Hope. Hope restored hope. I think we also had another one with a name that was positive, so it was not all negative. Having said that, I must also give compliment to the people who made it happen, because as a non-profit organization, not even the University of Nairobi where I was, we could not afford $16,000 just for a 9,600 baud rate. That's the lowest that's the lowest you could think of, but that's how much it was costing to connect to the internet. At that time, that's the equivalent of about 1.6 million Kenya shillings per month. Now, if you fast forward with inflation, that's probably would be like 10 million shillings every month just for a narrow pipe. So in a nutshell, in terms of that having happened, it wouldn't have been possible without the support of the National Science Foundation, the US National Science Foundation, and the UK Overseas Development Assistance and Randy Bush. 8th to 10th, Madam Chair being co-chair of the Africa Diaspora Symposium, we will be delving much more into what practical solutions can we get to move forward Africa into the next frontier as we approach the fourth industrial revolution. Others, thank you for your attention, and over to you, Madam Chair, Madam Co-Chair.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Tuodo. It's always really very great to just hear you talk, and particularly on this subject that you're very, very passionate. And as Dr. Martin Koyabe said, I mean, look at your products, you know, him, you know, Sam, Bura, and many others, all of us who have gone through those years and your hands, just relishing the information that you shared. At a time we did not understand it, but you were relentless. You were focused on it, and here we are now. All of us call ourselves experts in one way or the other of the internet, you know. And look at even the newspapers. I mean, they've all gone, majority of them, we still want, of course, a hard copy, but a lot of them are really virtual, where, you know, that aspect of editors, you know, with the social media now taking over, like I said, the young people, you know, from 6 years or 3 years, they are all now being taught at home with the COVID. But social media has taken over. People have followings, millions. People are selling products on the internet. It has taken a life of its own. Over to you, Patrick, if you're ready. Patrick.
Yes, thank you very much indeed, Rosemary. And Dr. Shem Ochodo, that was quite an excellent presentation. And you've made us travel all through that journey. What saddens me is that there is a lot to write home about. And even we guys in the media profession need to pride ourselves as Africans, given the steps that we've made when it comes to actually connecting to the world through the power of the internet. The sad bit is that most of these stories remain untold. And even if they were told then, there are young people who are coming up who are yet to understand and appreciate the strides that we've made. And I will be challenging everyone on the panel and all the other participants. I think it is a high time that we brought our heads together as stakeholders in this front and ensure that we keep telling these stories, because what I've heard from Dr. Shem, actually, that's a bank of knowledge and a bank of information that can help people appreciate, and even policymakers actually work with haste when it comes to coming up with policies that will help us as African nations actually move together in a forward momentum. And so I stand guided on where we go to next, Madam Rosemary, and then I will pick it up.
With permission, Madam Co-Moderator, I know Madam PS wanted to step aside briefly. She was on the road. Maybe she could say a final word before you open up for Q&A. She could also tell us about environment, a new work frontier she's in.
Yes, definitely. That was the next segment as we conclude, really. This is for those who speak Swahili, Lala Salama. Concluding, what I like doing, and even for the panelists and for those who have tuned in, who are following the discussion, I mean, there's so many nice comments that have come in. I really wish we had all the time to just say, but the thread that is going through is that all of you are being congratulated. You know, some of them are saying, like Pamela Kibunja, Dr. Chodo, you are a shuja. You know, it was only the other day that, it was Shuja Day. So you are a Shuja in our eyes and what you have done to put us where we are. We've held, a number of webinars. I believe this is the fourth one. And one of the things that was being talked about, even from the Ministry of Health and other ministries, Ministry of Cooperative, issues of telemedicine. I mean, who would have thought? You call your doctor and they walk you through the process. Nobody would have thought that. We still believed you needed to go in for the doctor to either touch you or do this, examine you. You kind of feel better that way. Does it really make a difference? I mean, you can still share the symptoms and be, diagnosed, but those times are now long gone because COVID is now with us and it's real. So let's keep our social distancing. Let's wear our mask. For us who believe that COVID is here and it's real, and we know people who have passed on because of COVID. Moving along, I would like to encourage all panelists to really take time and probably ask a question to the other panelists or any of the other panelists, to ask each other a question at this particular time. I want to start off with Madam P.S. Ibildun Odushote. I got it right. Yes. Right. Madam P.S. Well done. Yes, if you have a question for the other panelists, or even just share with us a little anecdote of where you are now. We want to pray for you. We wish you well. You are retired but not tired. So this is another phase, that you have started. And retirement at the UN is 65 years old. In other institutions, I see people going in almost getting to 80, 90. You retire from that job and you still volunteer and now start your own passion, something you always wanted to be or also to do. I see that a lot in the US particularly, where mothers, when the children are about 18 or 20 and they've left the house, that's the time they now go back to college to do something, choose a profession. So any questions for the panelists? Madam PS, if you are able to unmic and ask a question, or Madam Lewis, I like starting with the ladies, or Dr. Masinge, if you're available.
Can I just say something?
Yes.
This Madam PS, as I would be called.
Madam PS, yes.
Okay. It's not so much about asking questions, but I heard Dr. Chodo talking about my new plans and vision. I'm working very much at plastic recycling. And he was very fast in relating and connecting me with some women engineers in Kenya who are doing the kind of things that I just started to do in Nigeria. And that has been quite profitable. What I discovered that in my 10 years of being a permanent secretary, 3 times out of that, I was in the environment ministry. And in the environment ministry, we started talking about the Great Green Wall. We started talking about climate change right from the beginning of my existence there. And I ended up closing, being a permanent secretary in the Ministry of Environment again. And you know that what we're experiencing now worldwide is a heightened condition of climate change. People that had said there was nothing like climate change, they know that there is climate change right now. And what do we do to mitigate the issues that are confronting us all over the place? I traveled to Ghana. I went to Ghana first. At the seashore in Ghana, I was picking plastics that were from Nigeria. I was also in Uganda, and I picked plastics that had come all the way through the sea from Nigeria, from Ghana, and from all other coastal lines. And it was a concern to me that I didn't know it was that serious, that you could physically transport all those troubles from one country to another without anybody paying any attention to it. And that gave me a concern that we needed to see what can be done to help. And I see that in many countries, a lot of work is already being done. So I'm not just going to reinvent the wheel. I'm just going to add on to whatever has been done and then make it better in Nigeria. So I just felt that I should mention that anybody that can still give me whatever support that is required, because the quantum of plastics that we have in Nigeria is enormous because of the population, and practically everything is done with polythenes and with nylon, with plastics all over the place. But talking about asking any questions, what I want that we will bring out of this discussion, and I really want to know the way forward from Dr. Shem, is where do we go from here? How would Kenya join up? Because that was what we did in the beginning. Kenya came to Nigeria to help us. I remember that apart from being in Lagos, we were in Ife. Right. And we were in some other parts of Nigeria for us to be able to get the kind of things that we got. The training that I got, Mike Laurie spent another 2 weeks after all the conferences and seminars that we had in Ife, spent with me in Lagos, trying to help us out in doing a number of things. And I know Charles Musisi too was here in Nigeria. We joined together, all of us, to try to help one another. Lizzie too was here.
Right.
Practically all of us that were at the pioneering stage, anywhere we were going, we went together. We were together in Egypt with Tarek, late minister. We were in various places doing things together and helping one another. What can we do at this stage now that maybe some have gone far, some are still crawling? How can we team up? And particularly for helping the rural areas. We have a lot of solar energy that is being wasted in Africa. Sun is given to us as a gift by God. Some people are looking for the kind of sun that we have on a daily basis. So what can we do to help one another that will be connecting along the lines of our first engagement? Helping children, helping women. I run an NGO. How can this NGO move? And we are not talking about profiteering. We are talking about providing service and being satisfied that what we started to do is making progress. So that's the much that I would want to say. And I just wish everybody the best. It's as if I should stretch out my hand to shake Dr. Shem as I'm looking at him, the rights there. You know, it's so wonderful to see your brethren, your brothers, and everybody, and those of you that are meeting for the first time.
Madam Moderator, just allow me because something has touched me. About 3 years ago in South Sudan, which is probably the world's youngest country, as we all know, when one of our operators, MTN, we assisted a rural area to get connectivity. They were getting it for the first time. An elderly 80-year-old lady who spoke on behalf of the community told my boss, the Honorable Minister, "Hey, you made me talk to my son who is in America, who I've never spoken to for 30 years. The only thing I could not do, I could not hold his hand." It was so emotional. But Madam Modusote, that's notwithstanding, we're working with Nigeria Knowledge Hub. They just signed a MOU with Lagos State government. We are looking into an African Knowledge Hub. This is a major thing we'll discuss in December, African solutions to African problems. By African, we mean our diasporas in the Caribbean, African Americans, Afro-Europeans, together, more in December. Be blessed. Sorry, Madam Moderator.
No, thank you. Thank you so much. I mean, for me, just seeing the two of you who are really pioneers in this field that we didn't know actually what it was all about. It was new to us. It was very intimidating. And here we are. Really, it's just to salute you, is to shower you with praises and say thank you for what you have done, what you continue to do. And Madam PS, as you said, heading environment and what have you, of course, the UN now from the Millennium Development Goals, they've moved into Sustainable Development Goals. And just a little exercise, I asked my daughter to give me my old mask that is worn out. You know, we've seen even wildlife being caught with a mask. You know, people use a mask and you toss it out. So what somebody even recommended is that if you're tossing it out, just cut off the fins like I'm doing now, and so that when the fish or the wildlife, you know, are able to move around, because some of them can't fly when this little string goes around. I mean, it's a little, just a demonstration, but I mean recycling of garbage, of trash. It's also, you know, it's an industry that is thriving all over the world. And there are people making money out of that. I do remember one of the early U.S. presidential candidates, I think the governor for Washington, Seattle, whose whole agenda was just climate change. There are those who don't believe that it's real, but the statistics are in that it is real. And Madam B.S. also gave us some little nugget there. Where do we go from here? Where do we go from here? I think is to reflect where we've come from and where we are headed. And I just want to go around very quickly on the panelists. to say one word or two words as we conclude before I give it to Mr. Nzano, who is from the cybersecurity and e-commerce. Let me start with you, Madam Lois, SG of CTO.
Yes.
Final words.
Thank you very much. I think it is important that we spark the imagination of our citizens as to what technology can do to enhance the quality of our lives. And I think we have to expend some energy, some effort in explaining the potential of the technology in the context of what people do every day and relate it to their everyday activities. And I think this is one way of really getting more uptake of the technology, in every area. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I know the chief guest, Dr. Bam, had to leave. Dr. Martin, would you care? One word, few minutes, please. We need to conclude. Thank you.
Yeah, just thank you again, once again. But as they say, our SG has spoken. But let me also just take a perspective on diaspora angle, if that makes sense. I think for me, the issue is the connectivity in terms of linking the efforts of what diaspora can bring on board. The efforts that are being created around the world, and of course in Kenya as an example, it's a good example to see how you can leverage between the efforts that are created at the level of diaspora and how countries can be able to evolve. So therefore, having favorable policies and having favorable environments to enhance that might be useful. But going forward from this particular platform, I think the point that Shem mentioned about the historical rights and making that sure that history can be able to be put right is important. We need to have a way of how we can document some of these aspects, because as you've seen, we've lost 4 colleagues who have gone, or at least thereabout. They've gone with their knowledge, they've gone with their experience. They would have liked to have said something, but then might not have had that opportunity. So therefore, a way of digitizing and recording and being able to archive this information is very important. Today morning when I told my daughter I was going on a conference call, and then she said, "Why are you going on a conference call?" Because I picked up from tuition, that's why I came a bit late. And she said, I told her, because I was a pioneer at one point of doing the internet. And she said, "You mean you're a pioneer?" I said, "Yeah, I think so." She said, "So I'm a celebrity as well." So these are the things that we need to put into context. But I just wanted to put it out there that the generation that is coming up might not have an idea at all. The effort, the strength, the will, the sheer suffering that people went through just to get where we are. So I think maybe a historical perspective, archiving, and digitizing this is important. Thank you very much, and back to you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Martin Koyabe. Dr. Leopoldina Masinge, final words, please.
Yes, thank you very much. I just found a photo from Venancio. I don't know if you can see it.
Yes, we can.
But just a final word, it is to say, many has been done.
He was in Egypt?
We are doing, sorry?
He was in Egypt? I can see a pyramid.
Yes, one in Egypt, yes. Much has been done, and we are doing a lot of work on digitalization and to expand internet, mainly from young people. But I think we have to go forward. We have to, no matter what, keep doing what we are doing, and very well. And thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Masinge. We really appreciate you. We salute Professor. He's gone, but he's still in our hearts for what he did, and we remember him for that. Madam,
and he's pointing on the future. As you can see, he's pointing on what we have to achieve to internet in Africa.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Madam JD Ochodo, final words, please. JD.
She's on another link. Maybe you go to next.
Yes, I'm moving next. Sam Abura.
Thank you very much. I would be glad to say that as at now, we need to think about data. Most of our data in Africa are lying outside the continent. And the old adage says that information is power. And if information is power and this information is lying out there, let's bring it back home. Let's get clouds in our continent. We can do it. We have several engineers, we have several aspects of professionals, and I would be most glad that at least this one can be done. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sam Abura. Mr. Charles Musisi, please.
Thank you, and thank you so much. Foremost, let me extend my, my pleasure at seeing a good old friend, Odesore, PS Emeritus. So nice to see you. Actually, when I shared my story, I think you were off. Yeah, but so nice to see you.
Wow, nice to see you too.
Yeah. And I listened in on to nice stories and of course to your new journey. That's very inspiring to know. You're so young. I can tell you that. If you're here, you will be going for many more years. And all my other friends, Martin, you're always spot on and the things that you tend to challenge us with. More especially around now that we've largely overcome a lot of the earlier challenges that we had around connectivity, around access, all those overtimes have somehow been answered in different ways. A reality is that we're now faced with a new round of challenges around the likes of cybersecurity and all the other things that we keep on hearing around the challenges that have been brought about by social media. So I believe we still have a way in which to input into informing policy, informing professionals.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Go ahead, Charles.
Yes, I was summarizing, but I want to say that I'm really excited about this celebration. I remember this as if it was yesterday. I remember that one late night when Shem was out there, and the celebration that there were when we all heard that. Yes, indeed, he had managed to send us first ping over to Randy Bush. And thank you, all of you. It was really a pleasure to join in this celebration. God bless you all.
Thank you. Thank you so much. One of the comments from Rosemary Odo saying, thank you so much for this wonderful discussion. We are much better off on where we came from and the journey to where we are today, internet and technology-wise. May God bless you all, our Mashuja. We are greatly proud of you. And really, this the reason I picked that one up is it really summarizes what you folks have done for us. We can't thank you enough. I wanted to conclude by asking Madam PS to say her final words to us. Madam PS.
Sorry, Madam Moderator, Shuja is Swahili word for heroes and heroines. I think Madam PS has stepped aside, but JD was on, but we can pass that if.
Yes. No, I mean, everybody has to. Jedi Ochodo,
I'm still here.
Yes, yes.
Oh, Madam. Okay, good.
Yeah,
I'm
Madam,
still here.
you available?
Yes, I am.
Yes. Just to conclude, Madam PS, then we'll have Jedi. Madam PS.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much. Once again, I'm so glad to be here. It's like a dream that is just coming true. When Shem was saying, at the beginning, they said that we were bringing what was going to replace human beings and that people were going to lose their jobs and all the rest of it. It was scary at that time. But today it has created so many jobs and so many people are even so enriched by the internet, more than those of us that started it at the beginning. So I just want to encourage everyone that had been in one pioneering work or the other that we should just move on with it once we're sure that we are doing the right thing. And I want to thank everybody that's been here, the moderator, you have done excellently well, and everybody that is on this platform. Thank you, and I hope that we will be able to have such interactions again, and it will get to a point that we can do face-to-face, that it wouldn't just be waving to ourselves on the computer, that we'll actually be able to do. That's something about Africa. Africa is about physical. We are friends, we are warm. We are not just seeing ourselves from afar. So thank you very much. I'm very grateful, Dr. Shem, for bringing me here. And I pray God will watch over every one of us. We'll be hearing good news about ourselves. I will soon be in Kenya, and I hope I will see the moderator when I come. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Madam PS. Jedi, if you're available, please, the final words.
Thank you very much, everybody. This has been a very fruitful afternoon. I've remembered a lot. I have seen many people, I've seen faces I haven't seen in a while, like Martins, although I saw him not too long ago. But all I want to say is, from what I saw happening at that time, I will echo Lupita Nyong'o's words that your dreams are valid. Because in all honesty, when this thing happened 25 years ago, it was just a dream, and it's a dream that came true. And I hope that we can pass on this to our young people so that they know that if you want something bad enough, and it is a good thing that is going to help people, do not hold yourself back. Just put yourself out there and things will work out. Thank you very much. And I also want to join each and every person to congratulate all the heroes that made these things possible. Of course, I traveled that journey, but me, I was on the outside looking in more or less. Thank you, and God bless everybody.
Thank you so much, Jedi, for that, really wonderful. I just wanted to point out that the discussion does not stop here. You have encouraged the young people to really take on, to focus, continue with their dream. Dreams are valid. There you go. But also the discussion continues in our first African Diaspora Symposium, which is being held with the 7th Kenya Diaspora Homecoming Convention that will be at Ole Sereni Hotel in Nairobi from 8th, 9th, 10th December of this year. There are those who are joining virtually. The invitations have gone out. Check out if you've not received your invitation and ask. If you even Google the Diaspora portal, somebody, one of our technical team will definitely put it up so that you all participate. And this is one of the topics that is being discussed. There are those who are there are those who are connecting now, and you have stories to, do we just bury this whole thing under the carpet, or do we pass it on to our children and our grandchildren and all the other future generations on what transpired before and this journey where we are headed? In fact, it was interesting. I was reading one comment of somebody in Nandi Hills. I can't see it now, but he said at the time of the internet, he actually thought the world was coming to an end. I mean, it looked that way. So this is, people are coming in from different angles, the way they viewed the internet at the time. So I want to encourage you to continue the discussion informally, and the discussion continues. But let me ask Mr. Zano, Head of Cybersecurity and E-Commerce, to say the final word. Zano Communication.
Okay, thank you very much, Madam Rosemary, and thank you each and every one of the pioneers who have given us their story of how the internet reached Africa 25 years ago. What I would like to say at this point is that on behalf of the Director General of Communications Authority of Kenya, and on behalf of the Communications Authority, I would like to thank you each and everyone for participating, and in particular for partnering with the Kenya Diaspora Alliance, that is KDA, in making this great function happen. Indeed, as here, we do look forward to having a physical celebration. Hopefully, maybe we might have to repeat this next year when COVID is long gone. And I believe we can convince our DG and the management of Communications Authority that we could have a big function actually here back in Nairobi if possible. Otherwise, it's a great pleasure to hear such great stories from great noble people of how they struggle to bring internet in Africa. And it's been with us for the last 25 years. And as mentioned, our main work at the authority is to secure the internet. And I can assure you, as much as we provide these services, it's always very important to also invest in securing our network. Sorry, I couldn't put my video on. I'm having a slight challenge with regard to connectivity. So that's why I'm on voice only. Thank you so much, and we hope to meet again soon. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, colleague Mr. Zano, Head of Cybersecurity and E-Commerce, and also Communication Authority. Yes, in the beginning it wasn't very clear, but this time it was very clear. But Madam PS, I just wanted to translate. I don't know if you got that from Dr. Ochodo. When I was reading one of the comments, there was some Swahili words that said mashujaa or shujaa. Shujaa means hero and heroines. So people are making comments and saying that. So I just wanted to know that you are all in our hearts, and we believe in what you did, and to bring us this far. And we continue with this journey because it's not over yet. But at the same time, I also want to thank the team, behind the scenes that has really worked very hard, including even one of the panelists here, of course, Dr. Shem Ochodo as the Global Chair of KGA, Dr. Martin, who was also on the panel and also a pioneer and a celebrity in her daughter's eyes, and the other team members, Ortin Morris, Peter Mwengei, Dennis Bondi, Bernard Kimanthi, Richard Dubiz, Engineer Nzombo Mbaru from Mombasa, Miss Nighty Nyaribo, Moshe Amusesia, who is our media specialist, Madam Mudhoni Gichohi, a good friend of mine, Dada Mudhoni, Miss Rachel Wali Mwakazi, Janet Stewart, Brian Odongo, Samali Kirika, Susan Mwangi, and of course, my colleague today, moderator, Patrick Inguza. Thank you all. God bless you. Dr. Shem, did you have anything to say?
Yes, just a final one. One is just remind members, but Mr. Najib Abida didn't say his final word from Tunisia, but maybe we can pass him.
No, he's there. He's there. I don't want to pass him.
Do you want to say a final word, 1 minute?
Najib.
Yes.
As you think, I wanted to say it's criminal to write internet.
Happy to see some. Sorry, I didn't hear.
No, the internet.
Hello?
Continue, please.
Yeah, I wanted to say that very happy to see some kind of a small perspective. So since 20 years, we are talking about collaboration, South-South cooperation, and maybe this great team with Dr. Shem and you all, maybe we can start to change some tools. I am ready to send you some tools about cooperating inside Science Park, smart cities, regional development. We developed some kind of issues to cut with the isolated people. The place where you saw me this morning, this is a kind of a lab coffee where we bring people together, lawyer, mentor, technical people, economic people. So we create the tradition to meet every Sunday in the morning is a kind of working space. So I think we have to create this small tradition in our countries, and we move on to collaborate on e-health or whatever. And again, thank you for all of you, and have a nice weekend.
Right. Thank you very much, Brother Najib. I was saying, Madam Moderator, people normally write internet with small letter I. I was saying that's criminal because that's a different internet. It's not the internet we know we are talking about. That has to be capital I. And I particularly make this appeal to media and people in the informaticians, the ICT professionals. All these gurus will tell you internet has to be a capital I for a good reason.
No,
Secondly,
I totally agree with that. And also in French, Sue's internet, I is capitalized.
Thank you. So whenever anybody writes internet with a small letter,
it's a capital.
The experts will tell you that's not allowed. It's a big offense. Secondly, I wanted to look for, and we could discuss this at our next meeting, safe internet, safety on internet, and safe communications. I do know there's talk of 5G and health, safety, and environment. Some of us take the position the 4G domain hasn't been sufficiently used. You can still get 5G range of quality from 4G. So let's not forget the health sides of the technologies we use. Last but not least, allow me to also acknowledge the presence of the Director of Diaspora Affairs from Somali, Republic of Somali. We really apologize, Excellency, we're not able to get you but we wanted to preserve you for our next event so that we also share with us. Somalia is one of the places where communications is cheapest for some reason, okay? So, Excellency, Ambassador, my apologies. Last but not least, Brother Eric Kaigama of Africa Chamber for Digital Commerce in Minneapolis. We are together and we'll talk more as we go forward. And everybody else we didn't manage to thank. Co-moderators, God bless you, Patrick, Madam Rose Musumba. We wish you well. We know, despite you being preparing for a session, you took time to be with us. God bless and see you again soon. Aluta continua.
Thank you very much to all of you. As I said, we'll continue informally and you're all welcome to the conference that will be at Ole Sereni, virtual, or for those who are able to be in Nairobi, there's a lot to see and the parks are open. You can enjoy yourself there. And the hospital.
Thank you to our sign language interpreter, Joyce, as well. We're trying to be inclusive.
Thank you. Thank you to our interpreter. Thank you very much and good night.
You can pray for us.
Good morning.
Moderator to close.
It's only 10.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Moderator, you pray for us or somebody prays?
I was going to ask the PS to pray. Madam
Okay. The PS can pray. The PS is actually a pastor.
Yo, there you go.
I remember.
How did I know that?
Thank you, Lord, for this opportunity to meet with all these wonderful people, great people of Africa, people that have brought development, they have brought life into Africa, taking us out of darkness and bringing us to the light of God. Father, we just pray that you would, in all our corners and all our efforts, you bring forth your blessings upon everything that we do. We ask that you will guide us, you will release unto us wisdom that is profitable, wisdom that is guiding, wisdom that is strong, that will be able to achieve the purpose for which you put us together. We pray for all our loved ones that you watch over them, especially with this COVID-19 that is out there, that none of us will be partaker of the evil that is roaming about. We ask that you will strengthen us by your spirit and do good to us all the days of our lives. We pray that Africa will move forward and it will be instrumentality of a number of us that will put in our best even as we grow and our children take over. Thank you, Father. We have prayed with thanksgiving in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. So beautiful to be here. Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Sounds like good memory of Stanford University.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye. Stay safe.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.